Dr. Patel, stunning news tonight from the White House, obviously. President Trump is 74 years old, right in the age range most at risk for the most serious consequences of coronavirus. What would you expect his doctors to be doing from this point forward?
I'm glad you brought that up because I think people need to understand that beyond the politics, this is still a very serious medical condition, and everybody wants not only the president, the first lady, but everyone affected to be healthy. So I expect the White House's medical team to be closely monitoring both the president and the first lady on a regular, routine basis. People have to remember we've come a long way in the past 7 months, and treatments and therapies are a lot better, and they have a phenomenal around-the-clock medical team at the White House.
No question. And let's talk a little bit more about what that medical team will be doing. When will we, Dr. Patel, have some idea, or his medical team have some idea, the severity of the symptoms that he might experience?
I think it's hard to say. From what we've heard from early reporting, the president and the first lady are feeling well. I've even heard they're being called right now asymptomatic. Now, I don't know exactly what this means, but Hope Hicks has been reported to have mild symptoms as well. Now, she tested positive a little bit earlier. So this is just going to be something that people are going to have to watch very closely as soon as we hear information about how quickly that could turn. But given the president's age, his BMI, he is in a higher risk group. So if he were to develop symptoms, I would expect that they would take a higher level of precaution.
And it's still not clear exactly when he contracted this virus, so how far into the process he is and the incubation period. When will we get a good idea? When will they be able to identify when he might have contracted this disease?
I think that is the telling part about how absolutely contagious this virus is. Now, I would imagine the White House contact tracers are going to be working on lightning rapid pace right now, looking at everyone that Hope Hicks, the president, the first lady, all of them have been in contact with over the past 2 days. Because remember, 48 hours before symptoms, you can still be contagious. And there are a lot of people around everyone in the White House, not only at all the rallies, but on Air Force One in his office. So there's going to be a lot of phone calls being made right now, and we'll have to see what happens because potentially a lot of people are going to need repeated testing and to be quarantined. An alarming amount.
Yeah, Dr. Patel, the president has been openly critical of Vice President Joe Biden, his challenger for the White House, and others for wearing a mask. And he's held many, many rallies with large groups of people, not socially distanced, not wearing a mask. It seems that there was some cavalier attitude and behavior on the president's part. We still don't know how big a role that may have played in contracting this virus.
And it's really hard to say. The last thing, if I were just to make an analogy, if a patient is sick, the last thing we want to do is blame the patient and say, you're the reason you're ill. But people were not wearing masks. And we see that footage of Hope Hicks that's been replayed over and over again. And I'm not saying she knew she was symptomatic, but no one around the president was wearing masks. We've seen plenty of rallies where, the president himself has not worn a mask. There's been rhetoric about not wearing one. And this is just proof that testing over and over again for the virus doesn't prevent people from catching the virus. The White House commonly said they're the most tested people in America, but that doesn't mean you're immune or protected against the virus if you don't follow the basic safety guidelines. And so I do hope in a twisted way, because this sounds like some type of TV show, that people see this as a wake-up call. This is a massive message that's going to be heard all over the world about the seriousness of the virus and the current state we're in right now.
All right, Dr. Patel, thank you very much. We will stay here with us. We'll move on for the moment.